You come forward, affect one of the meter.
I was laughing.
Yeah.
Laughing or choking?
Laughing again.
Who's giggling at us? Ooh.
I'm laughing.
Newark Castle is a ruin located just outside the town of St Monans and probably dates back to the 13th century. It's closely linked to St Monans Old Kirk, which dates back to around the year 875 when St Monan was buried there. Not only is it linked historically, but it's also linked by a spirit who once owned the castle but was seen in the kirk. We return to the Franks box, which at this point seems to be producing direct answers to questions, names, and even some negativity towards us. Please remember, this was conducted before 9 PM. We're on a faster sweep, and UK radio does not allow some of the language we hear. Let's listen again and see what the captures are telling us.
This is a bit of an unusual question, but I want you to answer it. So do you die in this castle, spirits?
We were at Newark Castle tonight. Basically, what we're doing here is we're following the witch trails and trials that went on. Now, as Greg will tell you, and he'll tell you in a second, this is a massive topic. We won't be able to cover it going up to Halloween, I can assure you of that.
It's a work in progress.
It's definitely a work in progress. Greg, is there witches up at Newark Castle?
Questionable whether they're at the castle. There's been witches at St Monan's Church, which obviously is just very close to Newark Castle. And there is rumours of a secret tunnel between Newark Castle and the church.
Right.
St Monan's was quite unique. They've got what they call the burnt aft on the top of the church tower. So what they would do is once they burnt the witches, the accused witches, they would take the ashes up to the burnt aft, which is basically a loft with open windows all the way around it. Mm-hmm. And from the burnt aft, they would the sea wind would come in and blow the ashes right out and round. So some would land in the consecrated ground, some would land all over, some would be washed out to sea. But essentially the bodies would be dispersed far and wide. Wow. To stop any chance of the spirits coming back.
So they were actually scared of the spirits of the accused witches?
Very, very scared of it. It was quite common. Witches would generally be buried. If they did get buried, they would be buried outside the town walls, just to prevent any of them coming back at any point. There's quite a few cases where there's quite a famous one, Lilius that's been quite a lot in the news recently. Lilius she was accused of witchcraft.
Toryburn.
Yes. She was accused of witchcraft, but she was never convicted. She died during the trial. It left the authorities in a bit of a difficult situation because they couldn't be seen to bury an accused witch in the churchyard.
Right, okay.
But equally, they couldn't destroy her body because she was never convicted of being a witch. So they buried her on the beach at the high tide, at the low tide mark, and they put a heavy stone slab above her just to keep the body down. Two reasons: one, first of all, keep the body down in the sand, but secondly, to stop the spirit from rising. They put her at the low tide mark, so the sea was constantly moving over her because the belief was witches cannot cross moving water, so it was constant moving water over our body. Unfortunately for Lilius, in the 19th century, somebody found her grave.
Right, okay.
And several of her body parts, including her skull, were all dug up and sold.
Oh my god.
So parts of her body are far and wide. Nobody knows where her skull is at the moment.
Do you think that's anything to do with the occult? It's maybe...
Definitely, there was quite a... There was definitely a bit of a fan... You know, people like collecting occult items, for want of a better word, back in these days particularly. There was a fascination with body parts, etc. To own a bone from an accused witch would have been quite a big thing.
Right, yeah.
We do know her skull was for a time at St Andrews University, and they have done facial reconstructions from her recently, because they have photographs of her skull, although her skull itself has gone completely missing.
What would it take to be accused of a witch back in those
Days.
Nothing. Literally nothing.
Right, okay.
Things that we would do day in, day out, talking to a cat.
Effectively, we're witches, aren't we? We'd be witches.
We'd be classed as witches for paranormal
we would be
research
burnt at the stake without a shadow of doubt.
Yeah, any hesitation.
No question.
Was it a fear with the church? Were they scared, or was there a lot of political stuff going on?
It was actually Mary Queen of Scots in 1563. She introduced the Witchcraft Act. There was an earlier Witchcraft Act in Scotland, but Mary Queen of Scots, she came back from France as a Catholic to Scotland that was going through the referendum.
Right.
So it was largely a Protestant country.
Yeah.
Obviously, Queen Mary wanted to bring back the Catholic faith.
Right.
So it was partly to try to quash the women. The women had new rights under the Protestant faith. So they just didn't like it.
There's always been a thing about females where they've not liked it, the male dominant society, and especially when it comes to churches, and because I think if you go back to ancient Egypt, and at one point it was the woman and the male, actually the woman was above the male, and they've proven that, and it changed at some point, and it become a more male dominated, like the religions and things coming forward. But apparently when it was the other way around, the planet was much better. The planet, for the ruling of people and that, and the woman, the female was always seen, as above the male, because they could give birth and things like that, and the whole, even in a spiritual sense as well. And I remember reading that, and I always wondered if it was maybe the Catholic Church coming forward were obviously scared of females.
Yeah, certainly didn't like the female role model, if you like.
Yeah.
So
females getting more motivation, more power,
more freedom. They wanted to crush them.
And I take it, predominantly it was females that were accused of witchcraft, but
predominantly,
I'm assuming that there was males as well.
Well, we got the name Thomas up at Pitt and Weem.
Thomas Brown, he was actually accused twice at Pitt and Weem. He went through the torture sessions once and was released, but then he got called back again.
And that was on crimes of witchcraft.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So we were at Newark Castle tonight. How did you guys feel there when we were running those sessions?
I think going there tonight, I think it was at the start. I think it was probably it was a quieter session. We've been there quite a lot recently. I've been quite drawn there recently as well. Yeah. I kind of do know why, but I'm not going to say too much about why.
I was about to say why, so I better not say it.
Yeah, I think it's something that
I was going to let it away.
I might as well say it now. It's more, it is a possible family connection. I'm not talking, it was my brother or my great uncle. It was, it's distant.
Yeah, in your family tree, you've got that family.
A really, really strong link to the names that are associated with that castle. So I felt I was drawn there. But tonight, there was things going on tonight. I think it was one of the quieter sessions.
It was more like we're getting watched tonight than you guys felt, but it was more like something was there. It was round about us, but not coming in beside us.
It did feel like it got dark all of a sudden, and then
really
something on the outsides of what we were trying to do.
I don't know if there was maybe sort of a strong controlling spirit there tonight. Not, I felt that it was just watching, and it was maybe.
And then the doors coming in that back door.
Yeah, I see in a few doors there was definitely fluctuations of light, possible shadows. It's hard to say when it's getting dark because.
That's it. But didn't the SLS try and map some? I know we're still experimenting with it, but it tried to map.
When I was coming down, I can't remember what you said. Well, I says, "Oh, it caught something." You says that's just when you looked.
I
So
did.
you felt that you were drawn to
I
that
was
area.
drawn, yeah.
I think a stick figure did just flash up. It could have just been mapping something else, you know, a rock or a stone, but I don't think it was. It was.
It's
like,
strange. It would have only done it
Yeah, so
We've done it
quickly.
that
quickly
time.
like that,
Yeah.
and didn't.
And we had been
didn't
asking
keep
for
up.
it to show itself, so it's trial and error with SLS. I've seen things that it impresses me, but
There's a lot of false positives as well, isn't there? Though it will try.
That's the problem.
Yeah, if it tries to map a chair or map a.
Yeah.
We have seen it trying to map chairs and things like Real
Yeah,
Halls
so
that tried
it's
to map
just
the
like
chair.
You've got to separate the possible what we do anyway in our research.
You've got to be cautious.
So,
Yeah.
but it's
The-
interesting. It's interesting.
The technology for the SLS camera is designed to try to pick up body joints and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's specifically looking for that thing. So if it sees it in a rock or sees it in a chair or it's going to try to map it.
I think it's like all the tools we use, even the France box or apps and that, you've got to watch for false positives.
Definitely.
You know, you could get a lot of radio bleed through, or you could get with SLS it's trying to map things. And I know some cynics will try and jump on that and say that everything is that, which is false as well. You've got to really just that's where your research is, isn't it? You've got to go in and analyse and look at things more carefully. Not everything's paranormal. Not everything's just plainly natural when people deluding themselves as well. But so Newark Castle, I mean, we'll analyse the audio, we'll stick it in a video and we'll share that. But I think that's probably one of that and Sunday when we were at Pittenweem, this is probably the start on the trail of the Scottish accused witches.
Yeah, I think we're getting both. I mean, obviously I wasn't there on Sunday, but particularly tonight as well, we seem to be getting the word witch
Yeah.
coming through an awful lot.
I think it's one of these things, you know, for a little while now, we do our own searches of, and we always sort of, we'll say, oh look, we want to go and do Robert the Bruce or the Outlaw King, we want to go and follow trails like that, and you know, we get really excited and we start preparing, but I think what you always find with these things is you'll be drawn to it.
You'll be drawn, I totally agree.
And I feel that we've kind of had the witch come forward before.
Yeah.
It's kind of sort of reversed itself back, but I think it's coming forward again.
Apple. Burn apple. Is that relevant?
Apple's very relevant to us in this area.
I heard that there, just burnt apple.
Yeah. You come forward, effectively if you meet us.
I was laughing.
Yeah.
Laughing or choking.
Laughing again.
Who's giggling at us?
I'm laughing. I'm laughing. Okay, we feel like you're building up to something.
We are? Did you hear that?
Okay, we feel like you're building up to something.
There's definitely someone at the door. Once we remember doing the laughing,
Yeah.
I definitely felt the presence of a man over at the door, but Serge has said that something has moved over there. Could have been a fly or something, you know. I mean, there is, with the rain coming in here and the dust, you know, it is
Yeah.
causing.
It's quite difficult, isn't it?
I just seen it again.
Right. Excellent. Voice there.
Could you give us the name of one of the accused witches, please?
Yeah, we're on a witch trial here. Trial. Can you give us a surname? Spirit in the area here.
says Michael.